Good morning, Charles.
What's up, man?
Hey,
I'm trying to get set up here.
you're
Uh,
you're cool. You're cool. You're all good. Yeah.
did you want me to? Because I'm in a room at the moment. Do you want me to like be outside? Is that
No,
more?
I'm in a room too. That's good.
All
I
right,
mean,
cool,
I
cool.
believe that you're hiking. I believe you that you're actually on trail. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, hey,
these things could be faked, but I see you out there. Yeah. So tell me where you are. What's going on?
all right. So we're still in Shasta, where we didn't take a whole lot of breaks to begin with, and of course, Shasta being 1,500 miles in, we decided to go ahead and take a couple zeros and hang out, and, do that deal.
So who's we?
So I started with my hiking partner. His name's Wonder Boy, and him and I met on the Appalachian Trail in 2019, and we were fortunate enough to be able to line it up and start this trail together. And yeah, that's who I mean by we. He's a good friend of mine, and we've been plugging along together.
Okay, so maybe you should introduce yourself uh, just to back up a little bit. Who you are, what your trail name is, what you've hiked, and what you're trying to do this year.
All right,
Yeah.
so my name's Charles Stevens. They call me Beast Mode on this trail on PCT. And whenever I hiked in 2019, they call me Rooster on the Appalachian Trail. So on this
Uh,
trail, I'm known as Beast Mode. It was a little nickname, trail name given to me because I did, a little over 40 up to Big Bear, which was a nice climb. It's early on, so everybody's kind of impressed with
uh,
that type of thing, earlier in the hike. And yeah, bunch of cool guys gave me that trail name, so I figured I'd just rock it on this trail. And
so you did the
mm,
AT.
yep, we did that. We did the Appalachian Trail in 2019. I started March 10th and finished on the 27th of September. So I wasn't in a hurry to get that one done either. That's about 6.5 months. And I actually started that one with my wife, and then I have two kids. At the time, they were 9 and 12. They actually did 210 miles of the AT with me. So that was from the approach trail to Klingman's Dome, and yeah,
That's so cool
that was a
because
great.
I did the PCT in 2014 with my son, and that was great to be out there with him. We plan to do the Arizona Trail in October if it works out too with him. So it's great hiking with
Oh,
your
that'll be
family.
awesome.
Yeah, family
Yeah.
thing. Or hike with your
Yeah.
dog or your horse or alpaca. Somebody. It's cool to have a something like the family thing is really cool. There's somebody on the PCT, a mother with three boys. Have you heard about them? Field trip.
Yes, I actually had the honor of hiking with those guys for all
Okay.
the way through the Sierra,
Okay.
and I can tell you, we were hiking with a guy named Tank Top. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him yet. His
No. No.
his Instagram's at Tank Top's Trek, but he's attempting a calendar year triple,
Oh, gee.
and he's already man, he's already got most of the PCT done. He's got about three-quarters of the AT done. I think he's going back and starting in the whites. But yeah, he's attempting that big crazy ordeal called the calendar year triple. We actually teamed up with him going through the Sierra, and Field Trip was there. We met them in Kennedy Meadows, and then we hiked with them on all the way through the Sierra. And I'm here to tell you, those guys, they are some hikers, man.
Yeah.
That mom, all of
Yeah.
her sons, you know,
Wh-
those guys, they love to hike, man. I've been out, I've seen a lot of like younger folks that are out here with their parents and stuff. You can tell, sometimes they're really not into it. And you don't get that from field trip. I mean, those guys love to hike, and
That kind of
man,
exposure to the children is just priceless, you know, being outdoors and in the survival mode, that's priceless. You don't get that in
mhm.
civilization.
Yeah, they did that. One more note about field trip. They actually did the AT last year, you
Okay.
know, so they've already got they've already got that one done. And I think they're intending, if everything goes well, to be triple crowning possibly next year, and their youngest to be 13,
Okay.
13-year-old triple crowner. That's pretty awesome, man.
Um, in 2014, there were some firsts when I hiked, and there was a young lad there. He was 8 or something. He was supposed to be one of the youngest to do the PCT if he made it. I'm not sure if he did, but he had done the AT too with his parents. Both parents were there, and he
Was that kid's name Harvey by any
that
chance?
not his
I want to
trail
say I
name. It
heard.
wasn't his trail name. I forget his trail name, but he was like 8 or something, I think.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, that is amazing.
And also we had the first equestrian through hike the whole thing except for 500 miles with the same horse. It never been done with the same horse. It had been done with changes. And then we had String Bean. I think he set a record for, I can't remember, assisted or unassisted for the speed to get through. He's this cross country fellow.
That's
And then we had some, I met what's his name? Scott Williamson. He was like a legend. I don't know if he's no longer around, but you've heard of him, Scott Williamson?
I've heard the name, but
He's
it's
done
not
it like
really ringing
12
a bell.
times. He's done it
Oh
like
yeah, okay.
twice, you know, back and forth, uh, you know, and twice he did it where he went northbound and came back. And we met him on the way back. He was trying for another record. So we had some firsts, and
Wow.
I met Billy Goat, you
Yep.
know, yeah, and some other Copper Tone. I don't know if you know him. He used to run
Copper
naked.
Tone is the guy that does the ice
Yeah,
cream, right?
yeah, the root beer float. He
Yep.
runs
Yep.
naked.
I've heard of him.
Is he still on trail? You know,
I haven't seen him, but I've heard about him. I've heard him. So he may be around for sure.
the first time I saw him, he was running up a hill naked with tennis. He had tennis shoes on, but that's it. And he had a nice tan. That's why he's Copper Tone, full body tan. But then he'd dress up, you know, for the root beer floats. He wouldn't scare people, but he'd run up all the mountains along the trail that he could find. You know, it's cool. Okay, so are you going for the Triple Crown at all, or?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking I will. You know what they say, you normally either do one trail or do all
Yeah,
three, you
you've
know. Here
gotten
I
this
am on the
far.
second one.
Yeah,
And I hate to kind of jump the gun here, you know. I still have over 1,000 miles of this trail to do. And, you know, we're hoping all goes well with that as far as, you know, any injuries or anything like that that you could sustain on something like this. So I'm hesitant to just be all gung ho and say, yeah, I'm gonna be triple crowning. I do intend to, and you know, we'll just have to see how it is. The last long hike that I did was in 19, so I did take a couple of years break, and I do have, you know, my kids in that with things that they're accomplishing, and my wife is accomplishing as well. So yeah, I do intend on doing the triple crown and getting out there and getting a CDT done. However, I don't really have any like hard plans at the moment to get out there and get on that one. Although I have entertained getting out there next year and just going ahead and getting the triple because it is an exciting thing. But
yeah.
I'm not in a super hurry to get it.
Why are you out there anyway? I mean, what made you hike the AT initially and keep it up?
Well, I
I
was
have
in the
to.
military, I was in the military and, I got out of the military and just kind of got into the civilian life kind of grind thing and dealing with some depression and, some other issues. And, I was just at a point that my stress was greater than my will to be comfortable at home. And I just went out to the AT with the family. They went out with me, and I found like the spiritual part that I feel like has been missing. It's comforting. To be in nature, to just be a part of the world, really. And this is the simplest thing you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
we're walking with our packs on our backs. It's got everything we need in life, and all we have to do is get up and walk in the morning. So it really just gave my mind a break. I really enjoyed the culture of the Appalachian Trail, and then I kind of put it in the back of my mind that I might triple crown one day. And then it just never seemed right. Well, this last year, we lost a couple of family members, my father and my grandmother. They passed right before Christmas. And it was just another one of those things. I was just like kind of feeling that heaviness that life brings, at times, and just figured it was a good year to get out and get back in nature, try to come back to who I feel like I am, kind of thing, and just get my mentality cleared up so I can do better at home, really,
Yeah,
so
nature is very real. I mean, it's not faking it. You get a lot
exactly.
of civilization, you get a lot of distortions, people competing and trying to look good and chasing stuff. But nature is just so real and sincere. That's what you get when you're so immersed in it for 5, 6 months. You're immersed in this sincerity that nature is, and it's about survival. But really, like the Indians say, they didn't have a struggle with it like the white men did. They came in and started trying to manipulate nature, but really the Indians lived with it. They supported it, so it wasn't such a struggle. I mean, they had, they were cold and hungry and whatever, but the white men have a different attitude toward it, and it's too bad because nature can provide a lot of comfort, lessons, uh, demonstrate how life could be, like the indigenous people lived. And that's kind of why I'm doing these programs so people can get back to maybe, viewing things a little differently, making better choices instead of going along with what we're doing with the technology and all that stuff, which is not necessarily bad, but the way that we're using technology, it's not great for the environment.
Yeah.
So
Not to mention a lot of the technologies, they tend to do the opposite and disconnect you from your surroundings and environment, kind of put you in another type of mindset, so that's another thing. Yeah, cyberspace.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely great being in nature and being present in that moment. You're part of what's going on. You're not disassociated because you're sitting here staring at your phone or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly agree with the sentiment there.
Have you had any experiences in your dreams? Have your dreams become different when you're outdoors than they are back home in civilization? Your nighttime dreams, you find those
honestly, I have a really hard time sleeping, the vast majority of the time. And the thing that I notice out here with the sleeping is that, once you get tired, you do 20, 30 miles of hiking with your backpack on, it just comes a lot easier, because you're tired, you're exhausted from
Yeah.
expending yourself throughout the day. So as far as dreams and that, I don't really have a whole lot of dreams that I ever really remember that are like different from at home. But I actually do get a little more sleep because of the physical exertion, you know. So and I sleep way better out in the woods than I do at home
Yeah.
for that reason. And it's so quiet, and you know,
Yeah.
so
You know, one thing I noticed when I was hiking at PCT, I didn't dream for a month. I was so exhausted in those first month. I just had a little food and went to sleep. I didn't dream, but then I'd wake up and it was like, okay, here I am again. I didn't have a break. So the first dream I had was like, oh, I get a break, you know, like a break between the hike and this reality that I'm in nature. It was kind of refreshing. The dreams kind of give you a release. And without those dreams, I didn't get the rest. Even though I slept like 10 hours or whatever, I didn't get the rest I did when I dreamed. So it's kind of interesting the way it worked out. And then I started dreaming more and I took a break, you know. But I'm just always curious about people's dreams. And I know one person I talked to, he dreamed about hiking when he was out. He just dreamed, you know, it was this extension of what he was doing, you know. So have you become more aware of things? What's your awareness been like in terms of any, have you become more aware of anything being out there? Awareness.
like, could you give me an example? Yeah, I mean,
Well,
awareness, you know.
to me, awareness supersedes everything. You have all these ideas and beliefs, but awareness is everything. It's like everything is, life is aware, you are aware. So recognizing certain things, recognizing things you didn't before is really cool, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that element is always there because of the amount of time that you have that you're just hiking. You know, you can be introspective and just kind of, you know, see where you are in your life. That's one of the great things about the trail, is just to be aware of your situation, you know, kind of like you were talking about, what brings each of us to the trail is definitely a different thing. So, you know, to think about the things that are on your mind and, like, you know, be able to assess everything at a slower pace is definitely, yeah, it's definitely gone down. You know, I sit here and I think about, you know, whenever I get home, what kind of things that I really want to try to accomplish, you know. I I learned a lot about myself as well out here, you know, because I came out here and I really pushed hard, you know, for the first little bit, about a month or so, month and a half. I was doing 20s, 30s, wound up like really testing myself physically, which I haven't, you know, I haven't gone to that extent before. And so, yeah, I mean, my awareness as far as, you know, my physical abilities has come up as well, because where normally I've been hurting, or, you know, maybe super tired, I just push through those things, you know, whereas I wouldn't have done it before. And then I just realized what my body's capable of, you know. So that part's been awesome too.
So when you came back from the AT, how did it change your home life? I mean, was it a healing experience, or how did you shift from the hike to back home again? That's always a challenge too.
Well, it is. And I'm fortunate in that, you know, I have a very supportive wife, you know, we have a great relationship. You know, my kids, they're awesome, etc. You know, I dealt with the post trail depression because, you know, you're out here,
Yeah,
like I was
yeah.
saying earlier, it's like the
Why come
simplest
back?
way you can live, you know.
Yeah,
And then you go back into the rat race, you start taking care of all that, everything wants your attention. and like we'll call it the real world or the civilian world or whatever you want to say, just in daily life, everything's vying for your attention. So it's like, oh, okay, all the things that I was leaving, now I'm back. Now they're still here. We haven't really addressed everything, that kind of thing. So, but whenever I came back, it was with a greater understanding of how to accomplish things, because it's simply it's one step at a time. No matter what you're trying to accomplish, you don't think about the big scheme right out of the gate. You're not gonna hike 2,650 miles all at once. You have to break it down into manageable pieces. I think if you look at it as 3 or 4 day trips or so like this, then that's how you get a through hike done. Kind of not get overwhelmed. That's the type of stuff that I took back with me, just an understanding that I'm capable of doing whatever I put my mind to, as long as I keep putting my efforts towards those things. It'll pay off. I'll accomplish what I want to in the end, or I'll be that much closer and hopefully have a better understanding of how to accomplish those things. So it slowed me down a little bit. It helped me understand kind of the bigger scheme with everything. Whenever I got back home, don't get overwhelmed by everything. Just take that one step, get that done, take the next step, etc. And it really has helped me out.
Sometimes it's the smallest things make a big difference. I mean, just a shift in an attitude or an idea makes a huge difference. Notice it. But yeah, you were able to do that. Now, how did the military compare to hiking? I mean, they're both very challenging, right? So,
man, I said it a couple of times whenever I was on the Appalachian Trail, and this isn't to take anything away from my military training. I was a Marine. I actually went to the 82nd after a break in service. I did a contract in the Army as well. I did, I was a paratrooper, went to airborne school and all that. And I've done some fairly tough things physically. And man, just being out there and then dealing with the mental stress of being under so much physical stress, your mental stress, it comes and goes. Sometimes you're like, man, you have self-doubts and all this. It was actually one of the harder, I think a through hike is one of the harder things you can do, just in general, because you have to just keep going,
yeah.
And you have to keep your mentality right. You have to try to stay positive in some pretty rough times at times.
And
it's definitely a challenge.
Little things like a trail angel you meet unexpectedly, or a note from home or something, or or a nice day, like no rain, snow, like actually a nice day. Your pack fits okay, it just fits right today. Just little things make a huge difference.
It's great, man. And those are the days that reinvigorate you and help you push through those rougher days. Whenever there was a day, I'd say our roughest day on trail so far. We woke up, it was I'm trying to think of exactly where it is, but it was coming down from the High Sierra, so it was around that area. And it was sunshine in the morning. Woke up, got about half a day of hiking in, not even, got to lunch. Started raining a little bit. The rain turned to a pour, turned into some hail at the top of these mountains. And it was one of them days, man. We did a marathon and we were miserable the whole time, And then the next day we woke up. This was after the wind was howling about 30 all night. And then it was it was sunny the next morning. We woke up, the sun was shining, and I'm telling you, it makes you a lot more grateful for those days once you faced a couple of the others.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
so much sweeter. The good times are so much sweeter. Uh,
really is.
Town stops, hamburger, fries, and shake or whatever. It tastes so much
Hmm.
better.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you had any health issues or body issues? Like, how are you holding up that way?
Nothing.
How
You
old are
know,
you? How old are you? I'm just curious.
I'm 36. I'm
Oh, you're a young
36.
young guy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a young guy. I got a few issues with knees and things like this that crop up every now and then. The worst, the worst pain that I had to deal with was in the form of some blisters in the desert, and it was just my feet. I couldn't keep them from sweating, and then the sediment and stuff got it because I haven't worn gaiters, and yeah, that combination of sand plus sweaty feet, it just gave me some of the gnarliest blisters I've ever had. And pushing through that was a challenge. Like I said, we were hiking with tank tops, so I think we pushed 330s
Oh.
while my feet were like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a challenge. It actually, that's what I was telling you about whenever I said I actually learned something about myself physically. Because there's times out here on these trails, and I'm sure you're familiar having done a through hike yourself, but you feel like you can't even take another step at times just because
Yeah.
the muscle pain or the joint pain or whatever the case may
Uh-huh.
be. You just take that step and it hurts so bad. You're like, oh man, I can't. There's no way I'm going to be able to walk another mile.
Yeah.
Sit down, take a break, do some
Uh,
stretching, have a snack. Somehow you get up, you're able to plow forward for
it's
another 10 months.
yeah.
You know,
I know.
it's
I
like,
was surprised what my body could take. I didn't know it was in me that much. I was saying, if I had this much energy or this much fortitude when I got back to civilization, man, I'd be like Superman kind. The amount of energy I spent on trail. If I did that at home, that once you get home, everything's different. It shifts everything. Your attention's scattered, and like you say on the hike, you're focused. You just sleep, eat, walk. That's it.
yeah,
It's very simple.
yeah, yeah.
And,
It's the
and
simplest life you can live, I
yeah,
think, man. I
but
mean, we've
then
been walking since we were children, so it's
yeah,
just one of those things. I love it, man. I mean,
who are some of the characters that you met? The interesting characters besides Field Trip, and can you have any stories
oh,
about interesting people? Because there are always interesting people on trail.
there are. Yeah, there are. And I mean, I've met plenty of other hikers that are just, I mean, I'd say meeting Tank Top and somebody with the ambition to try to knock all three of these trails out in one calendar year was pretty interesting. I've met a couple of those guys that are doing calendar year triple crowns. And man, I mean, just to sit there and think that you're going to hike over 8,000 miles in a year, to me it sounds crazy. And here I am doing a similar thing. And
Yeah,
not that those guys feel like they're doing anything better than any of the other through hikers or anything, but yeah, they're amazing, man. I mean, I think those guys are crazy cool. Whenever we hike with Field Trip, those guys, those guys are awesome. I mean, the kids, I got a chance to know, the four kids. It's a mother and her four kids, and they range in age from 12 to 17. And they're some of the strongest hikers, both physically and mentally, that I've met. I mean, they're just in great spirits. They love to hike. They can hike far. Those
hmm
kids, they hike circles around me, and I was doing 20s and 30s. I was just
yeah,
blown away. And I actually ran into them, pretty early on, and we wound up doing some leapfrogging. Now, at this point, I done slowed down a little bit, started taking a few zeros, so they're probably way ahead. But those guys were really interesting. Um, let me think. As far as trail angels, and other folks like that, I was told that it wasn't the same as the AT. There's like not as much trail magic. There's not as many trail angels and all this. And my experience with any of that has been I've never felt like I was missing a trail angel or anything like that, because we've always been fortunate enough that somebody to offer us a ride, or you know I've been given food, I've been given drinks, all the awesome stuff that trail angels do, and it's been plenty. I mean, the people in California, this is my first time in California, and it's amazing. I mean, the people are awesome. They're really nice for the most part. And then the scenery. I mean, the mountains in Tennessee where I'm from, they ain't this big. So
Right.
you just get views all day. It's been awesome. I'm trying to think if I met any particularly interesting folks. I met other travelers that aren't necessarily hiking the PCT, musicians, artists, things like this, just transients, traveling. Those guys are really cool. Met one named Tom here recently. That was a interesting guy. But for the most part, I mean, whenever you're talking about through hikers, they're all interesting.
They are.
They're out
They
here.
are. If they're out there, they're
Yeah.
interesting. What would they be out there
Anybody
for?
that you talk to out here,
Yeah.
they've done something crazy before this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and they're just that type of personality. So yeah, I mean, anytime I get a chance to hang out and talk with other through hikers, which I kind of keep to myself for the most part. Me and my friend, his name's Wonder Boy, and we get into the group sometimes to do some socializing, but for the most part, we just hang out by ourselves.
The dope during my hike, I mean, everybody smoked. I was surprised how they could smoke so much dope and then, hike all day. But you find that too on the trail, a lot of that
Oh yeah,
alcohol,
yeah.
party time. Yeah.
Well, I don't really, the people that I have interacted with that have been smoking cannabis, they're not really partying. I don't really tend to involve myself with a lot of partying and drinking and things like this. And I mean, I cast no stones. I'm not morally opposed to anything that anybody wants to do. It's just that's not the way that I spend my hike. I like to come in and check out town and stuff. I mean, I love the hiking part, and I'll do that. Like I said, nothing I'm morally opposed to, and I definitely believe hike your own hike. If those guys want to drink beer and have fun and party it up, then that's their journey, man. But that ain't mine.
Okay, so we're kind of at the end here, but so you're in Shasta now?
Mm-hmm.
And then do you have, are you on Facebook, or how do you connect with people? I forget how I found you.
I've got Instagram. You and I are friends on Facebook, or anybody is free to look me up there. On Instagram, my Instagram is at @the_beast_hikes, and I do some updates on there here and there. That'd probably be one of the better way to get in touch with me would probably be Facebook.
Okay.
And that's just Charles Stevens, or you can look up my Instagram and send me a message on there. If anybody wanted to connect, then that would be fun as well.
And send me some photos, any videos you have, and the contact information, the Instagram information, and we'll put it at the end of this video here.
All righty.
People can keep in touch with you. And
yep,
I really wish you. I want to keep following you, and hopefully everything be okay. You make it. I remember I made it to the end. to the monument. I started April 24th, ended September 16th. I got there. There's a guy with a little guitar, and we sang, and we had a group there singing. And then I didn't have a passport, so I had to go back to Hart's Pass. And the first couple I met, I went up and hugged them. I started crying. I couldn't. It was so emotional, the moment, that.
It is. I remember the summit on Katahdin. It's an emotional thing to put so much effort in there, and then just realizing the culmination of all them steps you've been taking. It's amazing.
It is. It's yeah. Do it for the adventure.
It is. There's nothing like finishing a through hike. It's the most amazing thing that one of the most amazing things that I've experienced. It's just, I can't wait for this. We're almost done with California, so yeah, we're cruising right along, and we'll be there before too long.
Well, keep it up, Beast Mode. It was a pleasure talking to you. Wish you all happy trails, man.
Thank you, brother. Happy trails.
Okay.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.